Have you ever felt that despite your heartfelt and genuine efforts, they go unnoticed, leaving you on the outskirts of others' attention? Imagine you're working on something meaningful in your life, whether it's an idea, a project, or simply helping someone out of kindness, yet, instead of receiving the recognition you hoped for, you're met with cold silence, as if all the effort and energy you've poured in have been overshadowed. We both understand that feeling. These difficult moments when we face such situations leave us wondering why our value goes unseen. This sensation, particularly when it affects our closest relationships, be it with family, friends, or a partner, can be deeply painful. If we spend too much time trying to gain approval from those who fail to appreciate us, we risk losing the joy and energy needed to keep moving forward. Although Zen Buddhism teaches us not to expect recognition, understanding it's beyond our control, the truth is that we still desire our efforts to be valued. But what if there are ways to change this situation? What if we could learn how to ensure our presence and actions are met with more respect? And instead of chasing others' attention, we begin to receive it effortlessly. The truth is, if you understand and apply what I will tell you in this video, you have the opportunity to completely transform your current situation. The 9 psychological strategies you're about to discover have the power to bring recognition and harmony into your life. Now that you understand what you're facing, it's time for change. It's time for a new approach that will allow you to rise above the limitations you've experienced until now. So turn off all distractions. First step, the delicate art of distance, evoking longing through absence. Among the subtle threads that weave human relationships, there is one especially fragile and sensitive: the fear of losing someone close. This feeling doesn't emerge overnight, but is woven slowly over time and space, where you allow the other person to appreciate your value through temporary absence. In a world where closeness is often associated with security, the sensation that something we took for granted could disappear generates intense emotions. These emotions may lead the other person to reflect on the important role you play in their life. People are far more motivated by the fear of losing something than by the desire to gain something new. It's paradoxical, but deep down, we prefer to hold on to what we already have, rather than seek something new. To become a priority in someone's life, it's useful to consider the use of distance, not as a tool for manipulation, but as a means of introspection and building a healthy relationship. Imagine a relationship as a garden, where each shared moment is a new plant that requires attention and care. However, if you don't allow the soil to rest, giving space for desire to grow, your garden could become overburdened, and the plants wouldn't have room to flourish. Similarly, for someone to truly appreciate your presence, sometimes you need to give them the opportunity to experience your absence. Start with subtle changes. Share fewer of your feelings, secrets, and worries. Let the silence that will eventually arise lead the other person to reflect on how much you mean in their life. Balance your time with other people and activities that bring you joy, and allow those small changes to provoke natural nostalgia in that person. It is precisely this delicate and balanced distance, which carries a sense of uncertainty, that will make your presence more meaningful. However, don't forget that every garden needs balance. Excessive absence can cause the relationship to wither. This technique requires not only skill but also sensitivity and understanding. Your distance should not be a wall, but a mist that temporarily covers your bonds, allowing them to bloom again later. Only when you use this art with care will you have the chance to build a relationship in which you are truly treated with respect. Step 2. The charm of mystery, creating interest through suggestion. In a world where almost everything can be known with a single click, mystery has become a rarity and thus a special attribute. People are drawn to the unknown. They are fascinated by enigmatic personalities that hide, more than they are willing to reveal, behind a veil of suggestions. If you want to become a priority in someone's life, it's worth mastering the art of keeping secrets. Curiosity is a natural driver of action. People want to discover, solve puzzles, and explore the unknown. When you're too open and quickly share everything about yourself, you take away the opportunity for others to discover you on their own. Instead, offer subtle and discreet hints about yourself. Allow the other person to work a little to learn more about you. You don't need to share every detail of your past, your plans for the future, or even your daily thoughts. Instead, reveal only small fragments of the whole story, leaving others with a certain level of ambiguity. For example, you might mention a hobby you've been practicing for years without immediately revealing all the details. Give the other person space for speculation, and in doing so, spark a natural desire to know you better. Remember, mystery isn't just a veil you surround yourself with. It's a way to build a relationship where the other person feels intrigued, wants to uncover more layers of your personality, and always looks forward to returning to you. In this way, you become more than just an acquaintance. You become someone worth dedicating time and attention to, because you make others feel there's always something more to discover about you. Mystery is a powerful tool that not only builds your value, but also makes you a priority in the lives of those who want to know you better. Step 3. The art of inaccessibility, building value through temporary distance. In a world full of constant stimuli and present communication, it's easy to lose the sense of exclusivity in relationships. What is always within reach can, over time, lose its value. That's why it's so important that in relationships, as in other aspects of life, you apply the principle of quality over quantity. If you want to become a priority in someone's life, you must learn the art of inaccessibility. Reflect on how often you're available to others. Could it be that you're too easily giving up your own plans to adapt to others' expectations? If so, it's time to reassess your priorities. Being always available can make you invisible, and your presence might cease to be valued over time. It's not about creating artificial barriers or ignoring the people who are important to you. The key is to subtly remind them that, in addition to that relationship, you also have your own life. Your days are filled with other passions, activities, and encounters. So limit your availability. Don't respond immediately to every message. And give yourself the right to turn down a meeting if you already have other plans. This way, you'll remind the other person that your presence is valuable, not something they can have whenever they want. The uniqueness of a relationship is built by properly balancing your presence. The time you spend with someone should be meaningful and full of commitment, but less frequent. This way, you not only create longing, but also make each shared moment more appreciated. Remember, the quality of a relationship is not measured by the amount of time you dedicate, but by the depth and intensity of shared experiences. In this way, you become someone worth waiting for, and your absence starts to increase your value. Step 4. Let them invest in you, building commitment through active participation. People value what they have had to work for. That's why, if you want someone to see you as a priority, you must give them the opportunity to invest in your relationship. It is precisely through this commitment that true and lasting bonds are built. This is a subtle but very effective strategy that requires your ability to balance expectations and boundaries. Reflect on how you can subtly encourage others to invest their time and attention in you. It can be as simple as asking for help with everyday matters, planning time together, or even cancelling plans to show that your time is valuable. This is not about manipulation, but about creating situations where the other person has to make an effort to understand you, support you, or earn your attention. The key here is balance. You can't let the relationship become one-sided, where only the other person gives all the time. That's why, when someone invests their time, energy, or emotions in you, reciprocate. This way, trust and mutual respect are built. Once someone has invested a significant amount of time and energy in you, they will start to see you as an indispensable presence in their life. However, remember to use this in moderation. Demanding too much investment can make the other person feel used. That's why it's important to build this investment on a solid foundation of reciprocity and understanding, which over time will allow you to be seen as a priority in the other person's life. Step 5. Put your needs first. Take care of yourself to become a priority for others. In interpersonal relationships, it's essential to put yourself first before expecting others to do so for you. A common mistake is trying to earn someone's recognition at the expense of your own needs and desires. However, to be a priority in someone's life, you must first be a priority in your own life. Putting your needs first does not mean being selfish. It means setting healthy boundaries and taking care of your well-being, emotions, and time. When you surround yourself with people who respect your boundaries and value you for who you are, you increase your chances of being seen as someone special. Therefore, if you feel that someone is not treating you as you deserve, don't be afraid to walk away. By doing so, you demonstrate that you value yourself and are not willing to settle for being a secondary option. You have full control over your emotions and actions. You can't force someone to appreciate you, but you can make your life more valuable and fulfilling, which in turn will attract people who recognize your true worth over time. When you start to prioritize your needs, you'll notice that others will also begin to treat you with more respect. It's important to remember that being a priority in someone's life doesn't start with their decision, but with yours. When you show that you're aware of your value and can set boundaries, you automatically become someone others want to keep close. Your self-confidence and ability to care for your needs will become a natural magnet, attracting those who want to be part of your life on your terms. Step 6. Don't make them the center of your life. Give space for them to miss you. In a world where everything seems immediate and easily accessible, true value is often hidden in what is inaccessible and requires effort. In human relationships, as in art, less is more. When you make someone the center of your life, you surround them with constant attention that may become obvious from their perspective and therefore undervalued. Imagine a gardener who waters their plant excessively every day, believing that more water will accelerate its growth. However, instead of flourishing, the waterlogged plant begins to wilt. The same thing happens with human attention. Too much can be overwhelming, and too little can cause the relationship to wither. The real skill lies in finding the balance where your presence feels like a gift, not something obvious. Develop your passions and invest time in what enriches you. Don't let your life revolve solely around one person. When they see that you have a full, independent life, they will feel more intrigued and start to miss your presence. In this way, instead of becoming just another part of their daily routine, you become something that adds color to their lives. Imagine an artist who dedicates himself passionately to his painting. He used to spend every moment with a friend, but over time noticed their conversations became superficial, and the friend began to take their meetings for granted. So the artist decides to focus on his art, spending more time in his studio. After a few weeks, he receives a message from his friend saying they miss him and asking when they can meet. At that moment, the artist realizes that sometimes to be appreciated, you must allow others to feel the absence of your presence. Step 7. Stop initiating contact on every occasion. Let them miss you in the silence. In silence lies a power that cannot be perceived if we don't give it space in our lives. Silence, interrupted by a warm, sudden gesture, has more power than constant conversations. In relationships, communication is key, but if you're always the one initiating contact, you begin to make others accustomed to your constant presence. Your voice, although caring, becomes part of the daily noise and not a special sound that everyone eagerly awaits. Think of ancient philosophers who knew that words have power only when used sparingly. Similarly, in relationships, sometimes it's valuable to take a step back and allow the other person to take the initiative. Allow them to miss your voice and your presence. When you're not the first to reach out, you'll see who truly misses your closeness and who genuinely values the relationship. Imagine that you're always the one sending the first message, proposing meetings and making an effort to maintain contact. One day, you decide to pause the communication. Days pass, and the phone remains silent. Finally, after a week, you receive a message. "Hey, how are you? I haven't heard from you in a while. I miss our conversations." At that moment, you realize the value of silence. Giving others the opportunity to initiate contact allows you to discover who truly cares about you. Step 8. Create your own happiness. In the labyrinth of life, where paths often intertwine and lead us to unexpected places, true happiness is like an inner lantern that shines regardless of external circumstances. To become a priority in someone else's life, you must first find that lantern within yourself. It is in solitude, away from the noise of the world, where we can begin to cultivate a joy that does not depend on others. Imagine a gardener who tends to their plants daily. They know that for the flowers to bloom in all their splendor, they must be properly watered, cared for, and most importantly, allowed to grow in the right environment. The same goes for our happiness. If we rely solely on others to provide us with that happiness, we become like a dependent, helpless plant, just waiting for rain. Think of someone who decides to start a career, for example, in the arts. Instead of following others' expectations and seeking their approval, this person finds joy in their own creativity. Their art becomes a reflection of their inner world, independent of criticism or praise. Over time, this independence makes their works attract attention and admiration, not because they sought it, but because their creations radiated authenticity. Step 9. The art of leaving. Sometimes life confronts us with the difficult decision of staying or leaving. This seems contradictory to our nature, which clings to the known and secure. However, in reality, leaving can be the greatest act of courage and self-love. By showing that we can walk away, we express a deep awareness of our own value and of the boundaries we won't allow anyone to cross. Think of an old tree that has fought for years to hold its place in the forest. When the soil beneath it becomes infertile and the rays of the sun fade in the shadow of other trees, the tree must give up, knowing that elsewhere it might bloom again. The same happens with us. When a relationship stops nurturing us, when it becomes a shadow of what it once was, we must be willing to leave to find a space where our soul can grow again. I remember the story of a woman who stayed in a relationship that brought her nothing but frustration and pain. She feared leaving, thinking that walking away would mean failure. But one day, she realized that staying would be a betrayal of herself. She left, starting a new chapter in her life, one filled with challenges but also inner peace. Soon she found people who valued her for who she truly was, not for what she could offer them. These examples illustrate the importance of finding inner strength, whether it's in creating our own happiness or in the ability to leave. In a world full of expectations and pressures, it's precisely these silent personal decisions that define our worth and ultimately shape our entire lives. Before we finish, I invite you to like this video, share it with your loved ones, and subscribe, activating notifications so you don't miss our upcoming teachings. In summary, we all experience moments when we feel overlooked. However, remember, dear friend, that your worth does not depend on others' priorities. Instead of giving in to those moments, see them as opportunities for growth. Always put yourself first. Take care of your happiness, and in time others will follow. Until next time, my dear friends.